What is up, gamers? We're here today, with some Pokemon, but it will not be Pokemon gaming, playing content. Why would I do that? Why would I play the video game? That's too much effort. You know what's not a lot of effort? Watching games that have already been played and talking about it. So that's what we're gonna be doing today. So basically, back in May, which I'm recording this in August, so maybe I'm a little bit late to my own party, but back in May, there was a very special tournament that happened. But in order to understand that, we first need to understand a couple of other things. The first thing that we need to understand is 35 Pokes, which is a competitive Pokemon metagame where every month 35 Pokemon are randomly selected, and those are the only Pokemon that anybody's allowed to use that month. So yeah, that's it. That's the concept. Everyone uses the same Pokemon, and it has its own encapsulated little metagame. Now, there were some people who saw this metagame and thought, this is a cool concept, but what if instead of it being 35 random Pokemon, it was 35 hand-selected Pokemon? And that is what is called Perfect 35, or 35 Perfect, right? Now this group, who runs Perfect 35, decided that they wanted to make a metagame that was in VGC style. They had run many different formats before, but they said, you know what? Everything we've done was singles before. Let's go do something VGC. And I, being in, like, periphery, like, I being in surrounding communities, being in 35 Pokes and 35 VGC, I said, ooh, a VGC tournament. I'll do that. I'll play that. So basically, here's the meta. Perfect 35, or Project VGC1. I think now it has a different name. It's just called Vision G1. But, you know what? It was called VGC1 at the time. So basically, it's just a list of these Pokemon that are allowed. It's VGC rules, you know. You bring 6 Pokemon, and then you pick 4 to play each game in, and then you do a double battle. There's no Megas, Dynamax, Z Crystals, Hidden Power, but there's stuff like Terastallization allowed. And all these Pokemon have Nat Dex movesets, which is kind of necessary for some of them, because some of them aren't even in Scarlet and Violet, and therefore, you could not use a Scarlet Violet moveset for a Pokemon that's not in Scarlet Violet. Wait, are all of these Pokemon? I actually never looked at this before. I think actually all of these might be, I don't think Grandpa is. And maybe Conkeldurr? I don't know. Maybe I'm a bad Pokemon. Oh, Togekiss. Togekiss is definitely not in Scarlet and Violet. So yeah, it's like a Nat Dex thing. So basically these are all the Pokemon. I'm gonna show you the teams that I used, and then I'm gonna show you all the games that I played. So basically, I saw the list of Pokemon allowed, and I saw my guy Okidogi, and I went, Okidogi is my guy. I'm gonna run Okidogi. And thus Perfect Dog was born, because Okidogi is my perfect dog son. We're just rocking a normal Assault Vest, Terra Dark set with a Drain Punch, Gunk Shot, Knockoff, Ice Punch. Just max attack, adamant, HP, invested. Normal stuff. We have Primarina. Primarina is great because it can do a lot of spread damage. It's very consistent. So we have that Liquid Voice, Hyper Voice, which with the item Throat Spray, so that whenever we use Hyper Voice, we get a special attack increase. Moonblast is a powerful stab. Ice Beam is good coverage to hit grass types. Protect to keep it safe. Terra Water to get even stronger Hyper Voices. And basically the name of this entire team is kind of bulky. So we have Wo-Chen, who can sit next to Primarina and help keep it alive. It can also help Okidogi stay alive, but it's not super great. I will say Okidogi also has the ability Guard Dog, which is good against Intimidate, but there's only, I think, one Intimidate Pokemon in this meta. That being, like, Torracat, I think. Oh, Overquill. Overquill is also one of them. But anyways, Intimidate was not, like, super popular, but it was nice insurance. But yeah, Wocha, Tablets of Ruin, Leftovers, Snarl, Pollen Puff, Leech Seed Protect. We had Toadscruel. Toadscruel was actually really good. Mycelium Mite does actually have its use cases because there's Hatterene with Magic Bounce in the meta, which means you can Spore Hatterene, which is nice. You have Rage Powder, Trick Room, and then Earth Power. Focus Sash, Terra Ghost to stop any fake outs from flinching. Breaking Focus Sash, especially since we don't have Protect. Gigalith can work underneath Trick Room. So I gave it Sandstream to set up Sandstorm, give itself a special defense boost, remove other weathers, and then it has Life Orb, so it can do things like click Rock Slide and do a bunch of damage. It can Stomping Tantrum. It can Wide Guard to keep its teammates safe from spread damage. It has Protect. I think it's supposed to be Terra Grass. I think I maybe changed it at some point and just forgot to update it on this specific version of the team. But yeah, I think it was supposed to be Terra Grass to help against ground and water and grass type moves. And then last we have Gothitelle with Shadow Tag, Citrus Berry to keep it healthy, Fake Out to help support, Trick Room to help speed control, Psychic to do some damage so it's not dead weight when it gets taunted or something, or if Trick Room's already up, then it can still do something. Protect to keep it safe. Terra Dark is good for it helps against it just defensively against like dark types and ghost types. And I'm trying to think, I don't know if there's any prankster Pokemon in this meta. Yeah, I don't think there was any prankster Pokemon, so like if there were, Terra Dark would help keep it safe from prankster moves. And then really, so this is what this is the team I use for most of the tournament. So now let's look at the tournament. And spoiler alert, you can probably tell from the title, I won this tournament. We can see here it was 10 players, and we had 2 groups of 5, where we just played like pools round robin. So like we played against every other person in our pool, and then the top 2 moved on to a single elimination bracket. You can see here I won all my matches in pools. 2-0 versus Gravity Monkey, 2-1 versus Units, 2-0 versus Malty, 2-1 versus Amy. Yeah, we're just gonna, I mean, we can go take a look. I don't know if we can watch all of the games, just because might run a little long, but here I have all the replays. You know, we can go look at this game versus Units. This is the first thing I played. May 22nd, that's when this game was played, okay. So we see I lead with Okidogi, Primarina, and Primarina scared out by Superior. It's got like Leaf Storm, Terra Ground Blast, Haunt. Yeah, it's got some crazy stuff. But this Assault Vest on Okidogi really just helps it sponge so many hits, and then it can Drain Punch to heal itself up. Although this Bisharp is gonna protect that. Yeah, just getting a general idea of how this team works. It's really just like I have 2 Trick Room setters to help me move first, but a lot of the time, this team is okay with taking hits, just because like the team members are so bulky, and like Okidogi can heal up with Drain Punch, or a Pokemon can heal up with Pollen Puff from Wo-Chan. We see there Okidogi misses a gunk shot against Hatterene. This is going to be a common occurrence. This Okidogi really did like missing its gunk shots. And I'm gonna give you another spoiler warning. This Wo-Chan was kind of not the thing. This set, at least, is kind of bad. With Snarl, Pollen Puff, Leech Seed. Honestly, Leech Seed getting, if it was replaced with like Giga Drain, it would have been a lot better. Oh jeez, yeah. Yeah, and we see that Units has this strong Trick Room mode with Conkeldurr and Hatterene, and my team just couldn't do much against it. So I went down the first game, but if there's one thing that I might be good at, it's maybe adaptation. Because I managed to pull this around. Let's see if I can just, like... let's put the speed on fast. It's a little bit brain rot to put the speed at hyper fast, but you know, it's just about getting the idea. Did I dodge? Oh, I dodged a helping hand Leaf Storm with Toadscruel. Yeah, so that was maybe a little bit lucky. And then I think I spored Safety Goggles Hydreigon. But to be fair, I don't think my Toadscruel could really do anything in general, so... Oof. Yeah, that... Hydreigon's a cool Pokemon, but one problem that it kind of has is that because it uses Draco Meteor so often, you can get in situations where you like drop your special attack with Draco Meteor and now you just can't really do a lot of damage. And sometimes you're gonna be like, oh, I need to get my Hydreigon off the field, and it's just gonna be a little bit difficult. But yeah, I'm trying to think what was like the #1 Pokemon this team struggled with. This Conkeldurr was kind of crazy, I will say. The only thing that really beats this Conkeldurr definitively is Primarina. Okidogi's not bad into it either, but it just could do so much damage with that Guts Flame Orb set. Yeah, we can kind of skip forward. I have two non-offensive Pokemon on the field, so they're not going to be doing a whole lot. Except putting Hydreigon to sleep? How did... Oh, I knocked it off with Okidogi earlier. That's another thing about Okidogi, is that, I mean, it just has good coverage. Gunk Shot is so strong. Drain Punch helps it heal up. Ice Punch is just good at hitting certain Pokemon, like dragons or something. Knockoff just always makes progress, because even if something like switches in that resists it, it can get rid of their item, which is so useful sometimes. And Hyper Voice with Primarina is so nice because, you know, sometimes you'll pick off a Pokemon that's a bit low health and get a special attack boost while you're at it, while doing some chip damage to even like a resisted Pokemon. See, I clicked Gunk Shot and Moonblast into Hatterene because I said, okay, if my Gunk Shot misses, which is likely, then Moonblast will kill. But if it does connect, then Moonblast will redirect to Superior and do a lot of damage. But I just wanted to make sure that Hatterene was down. And there we go. There's Superior going down with a nice punch. Let me see. What did Malty have? What was... I mean, this Scizor was insane. Bullet Punch, Tailwind, U-Turn, Helping Hand. It's a really, like, unique team. Bex, Gengar, Intimidate, Torracat. See, here's where we see that Guard Dog ability being useful in certain matchups, like against Torracat. Oh, I'd say Terrakion was actually one of the most problematic Pokemon for this team, because it's just faster than everything I have. And there are certain times where it can just, like, absolutely sweep. Like, we see this team has the tech of Justified Terrakion plus beat up Hydreigon with Tailwind. And if Tailwind goes up, Hydreigon can beat up into Terrakion, and then Terrakion can click, like, +3 Rock Slide or Earthquake, which can be really scary. But we don't see that happen this game, because, Trick Room's up. Oh, wow. Yeah, and see... We got burned from Will-O-Wisp, but Guard Dog is giving us +2 attack to counteract that burn. So yeah, Okidogi just being like a really consistent Pokemon. I think that was kind of my goal with this team in general, is just to have Pokemon that are consistent. And one of the easiest ways to have Pokemon that are consistent is to have Pokemon that can take a hit or two. We see a lot of like hyper offensive strategies like Hard Trick Room or like Prankster Tailwind, which I would not say that there's no Prankster Tailwind in this meta, so that was kind of not a thing. But a lot of hyper offensive strategies can be like really inflexible and volatile. So that's generally like a kind of style I tend to avoid. This team was insane. This Arctovish that Gravity Monkey was using, insane. Dazzling Gleam breaks the sash on Toedscruel, and then Arctovish just clicks Vicious Rend. Because it's a water type, it actually doesn't have that many weaknesses. I mean, it kind of does because it's an ice type. But we see here, you send in Ninetales to set up the snow. Arctovish gets its Slush Rust boost, making it go really fast. Terra Water, Vicious Rend. That's gonna hurt with Life Orb especially, yeah. How do I even win this game? Gigalith. Gigalith overwrites the sand, and then Ninetales stays in and dies to the Sandstorm while Primarina picks off Arctovish with a +1 Moon Blast. And then we get to this phase where we have Togekiss and Raikou, neither of which are super great at hitting Gigalith. But Gigalith also has Wide Guard, which is really nice against, like, it's really threatening against Electro Web. Now, I don't know how big of a problem that is in particular, just because Electro Web is not really better than clicking Thunderbolts into Primarina. There we see the exact thing I was talking about, but you see Rock Slide do a bunch of damage to that Life Orb, and then Sandstorm doing work to finish it off. And that's one thing that makes Gigalith so good, is that it can just click Rock Slide over and over again. So if you ignore it, you're going to be taking a bunch of damage, and that plus the Sand Chip can be really dangerous. You know, we watched at least one game from everyone else. Let's watch game 3 versus Amy. Oh yeah, Amy had this Rain team with Terra Fairy Bisharp. Terra Fairy Bisharp was also really good against my team, and Overquill. Overquill, Dark Poison is just such a good type, only one weakness with ground, and Toedscruel is not the most offensive Pokemon, but I mean, we see here it does very good damage. So yeah, I mean, this is game 3, so I'd kind of adapted a bit, but just know, like, there was at least one game where I got destroyed with it. And another thing with Overquill, it's Swift Swim, so like next to Politoed, if you're not in Trick Room, it can go really fast. It can use Destiny Bond to be a nuisance and take out something, even if it can't kill them the normal way. Yeah. And like I said earlier, this team was kind of designed to be a bit more on the bulky side, so even if I'm not going first, I can take a hit. But it is nice that, because I have 2 Trick Room setters, there are a lot of times where I will be going first, just because I have Trick Room up. You see here, Amy has a cool eject button Politoed, so it can easily switch in and out, resetting weather and defensively pivoting around stuff, as well as getting resources like Fake Out from Ludicolo or Gothitelle on the board over and over again. So I think this is a cool team. I mean, I think in general, the strong suit of 35 pokes and 35 perfect, this offshoot, is that it really requires a lot of like creative team building. Just because it's a completely new meta every month. Well, 35 perfect is a little bit different from normal 35. But I mean, it's still the same principle where the metagames cycle by so quickly, that like there's not ever really a super established meta, and so it's like super open to innovation, and because of the perfect where they choose all the Pokemon, the people who designed this specific metagame, really like made sure to allow a lot of different team building possibilities. So I think that that's one thing that's really cool. We do not have time to... I was gonna say, oh, we can watch all of the single elim bracket, but that's just not true. So that was all the pools. As we saw there, I won all of them. So then we moved on to single elim. I played against Melton, and then I played against Gravity Monkey again. Here, we can watch the first and last game of versus Melton. Oh yeah, this team was cool. Like, Camerupt. I was like, I'm playing against a Camerupt? What is happening? I have no idea what's going on. And the answer is Eruption, which kind of makes sense, but... I don't know if it's going to come up in this game, but this Camerupt was, like, really fast. I mean, we saw it being faster than Primarina, at least, which is... Like, it has a much lower natural speed stat than Primarina. But yeah, no, this Camerupt was trained. It used Helping Hand so that Ludicolo could eliminate Primarina. That was cool. Here we see Okidogi miss another gunk shot. We have Neutralizing Gas, Balloon Wheezing. It's kind of cool. You get all the nice things from Levitate, while also turning off the opponent's abilities. Well, you get the nice parts of Levitate until your balloon gets popped, but, you know. The balloon made it annoying for something like Toadscruel. So there is that. Okay, I was saying that this Camerupt is fast, but I guess well, Toadscruel is a lot faster, to be fair, like, naturally. So, oh yeah. So, it kind of makes sense I went after, but look at that Wheezing. The Wheezing went before my Toadscruel. This Wheezing was really fast. Now, the reason is because this team had Tailwind Hydreigon, so with Tailwind it could do stuff. Oh yeah, I lost this game 1. That's what happens. I got caught so off guard by this team. We don't need to watch game 2, but we're gonna watch game 3. I was gonna say I only say that because I want to see myself winning, but I won game 2. That's how we got to game 3. That's how that one works. But it was about this time where I was seeing Raikou, and I was like, wait, Raikou's kind of tough. Which is why we'll see in a moment that I end up changing my team. Okay, I guess my Gigalith was Terra Rock for most of this tour. Dang. And my Primarina was Terra Water. I think I changed both of those later, though. Like, in finals. It's a really awkward situation. It's kind of like what I was saying earlier with Hydreigon, where, like, it has to use Draco Meteor a lot, and then it just ends up dropping its special attack so low. Right? Ludicolo is actually a really good mon this month. You see, we saw it earlier with, like, Rain, but even without Rain, Ludicolo, it can run a Assault Vest, it can Fake Out, it has a bunch of coverage moves, strong moves like Hydro Pump, yeah. Oof. Now what was here? Raikou, Wheezing as the last 2 mons. Oh, I sacked the Primarina because I was like, this Primarina. Oh, well, actually, part of it was that I was like, Raikou's gonna click Aura Sphere. Actually, I don't know. I don't know what I was thinking here. This was May 30th. This is like over 2 months ago. I don't remember what I was thinking. But you know what? It ended up working. It ended up working. This Raikou only has Thunderbolt, Aura Sphere, and Volt Switch. So Aura Sphere was the strongest thing it could use against Toadscruel. And Heat Wave from Wheezing, even that double up would not kill Toadscruel. So I went, I can get a Trick Room. Oh, and I forgot I still had Okidogi alive in the back, which is going to be much slower than Raikou, and he's able to eliminate it. Yup. Like I said, this team can take hits, but if Trick Room goes up, then it starts, like, really shining. It's usually, like, we saw here that Trick Room helped, like, clean up a game, and that's how it was a lot of times. Now, this is the part where it was me versus Gravity Monkey. And the way that, for finals, and the way that finals worked was that it was not just a best of 3 set, it was a best of 3 of best of 3 sets. So there's 3 sets here. And I said, oh, finals is coming? I need to change my team immediately. Because Wo-Chen was doing nothing for most of the tour. So I saw Raikou and I went, you know what I want to use? Raikou. Well, first I turned Primarina and Gigalith both to Terra Ghost. And I changed Toadscruel from Focus Sash, Terra Ghost, to Covert Cloak, Terra Water. Because then I could put Toadscruel next to Raikou and have both of them be immune to flinching without having to use my Terra. And Toadscruel didn't really need the Focus Sash just because it was already so good at tanking hits. That it wasn't going down to its Focus Sash most of the time anyways. And really the only thing that threatened it was like Ice-type moves, so Terra Water patches that up pretty well. We have Raikou. Inner Focus means that it can't be flinched, which is nice against a Fake Out lead, which gives it leeway to use Choice Specs, because usually the problem with Choice Specs Pokemon is that they can't protect, and therefore it's easy for the opponent to Fake Out flinch them. But with Inner Focus, that's not a problem. So I said, yeah, I want Choice Specs. I want Terra Electric for the most damage possible. Thunderbolt. Electro Web for speed control. Aura Sphere for coverage. Signal Beam, definitely for coverage, because I had nothing to hit grass types with. I mean, in general, this team kind of struggles with grass types. Like Okidogi is really the only thing that can deal with them well. So I guess if I were to make this team again, I would probably, I don't know what I would do differently. Yeah, I don't know. But I'll tell you what, it ended up winning, so I can't complain. It sounds toxic. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be toxic. Here, let's see. Game 3 of the first set. I added Raikou to this team and immediately started spamming it on like every lead. Especially since in this game, Gravity Monkey had Torracat Fake Out lead. Oh, I tried to take out Hatterene. Well, I think this kind of requires previous context, but I think basically what happened was in previous games, I tried to Spore the Hatterene, and then I got taunted by Torracat before I could do that. So here I just said, I'm just going to attack Hatterene and do as much damage, and maybe try to kill before it sets Trick Room, but I didn't get particularly close, as we can see from 17% remaining. And then I said, Raikou's in a bad position, I'm switching it out. And I can take out Hatterene while Toadscruel is still sitting on the field fairly safe. And then we pivoted into Okidogi. Because Okidogi can threaten Primarina pretty good, as well as Torracat at this point. Ooh, but that +1 Moonblast is actually going to do a lot into Okidogi. And then the Overheat from Torracat's going to finish it off before it can do any damage. Jeez. Toadscruel can't Spore because it got taunted. And I think my out of this game is getting really lucky. I think that's how I win this game, if I remember. Okay, I Thunderbolt the Primarina, eat a Rock Slide, don't get flinched on Toadscruel, and then I see, okay, Rock Slide is not going to kill my Raikou before it can move again. And both my Pokemon are immune to flinching from Fake Out. So Torracat could not, like, I guess, what would be the problem there? Oh, well, Thunderbolt, Terra Electric Thunderbolt with Choice Specs, even at -1, is going to kill Terrakion. And then the next turn I can get Torracat. Okay, I think the previous game that I won against this team, I won because I Thunderbolted into Torracat, got a Paralysis, and then, like, full parried twice or something. So I won the first game of best of 3 set. And as if you've done the math, you can tell that the second set I definitely lost. And it's because of this Arctivish again. So Arctivish went crazy. I'm pretty sure that's what happens here. Blizzard. Oh, see, even Ninetales Blizzard does not one-shot 4 times weak Toedscruel. And then it got frozen. And it stayed frozen. And it eats a Moonblast. And then Raikou dies to Gunk Shot. And Primarina comes in, and I'm like, oh. I'm like, Toedscruel, save me. Toedscruel, save me. And Toedscruel does not save me. It stays frozen. And Okidogi says, I'm not dead, so I'm taking down Primarina. And I went, you know what? Fair enough. And I was like, Toedscruel, what was that? What was that about? And then Toedscruel's like, I've got this. Don't you worry. Well, actually, when it gets to move. See, now it's like, don't worry, I've got this. I'm like, that's real nice, Toedscruel, but I kind of already lost. But it's okay. It's okay. Even though, yeah, Arctivish kind of, like, takes my shit. But, you know. So we took a little bit of a break. And then we played this last set. And we can definitely watch both games of this last best of 3 set. Ooh, we've got a little bit of a rain mode, a little bit of a trick room mode. That dual weather. I mean, 4 of these Pokemon are on my team. So I was kind of honored that Gravity Monkey thought that he was kind of like agreeing with me that that some of the same Pokemon are good in this meta, which I thought was nice. I fake out their Gothitelle. Thunderbolt. Okay. So I definitely won that turn. But Ludicolo says, I have Swift Swim, Terra Water, Mystic Water Weather Ball. Your Raiku's going down. And my Raikou went down. And then I was like, I gotta pivot. You know what? I'm getting rid of your weather. It's annoying. It does too much damage. So I click Rock Slide, do decent damage, set up Trick Room. And now I'm in my plan field, right? I have Life Orb Gigalith in Trick Room as well as Gothitelle. We can do some nice incremental damage. I got a Rock Slide flinch, which was real nice. And because I have Terra Grass on Gigalith, Ludicolo can't touch it with either of its stab move or any of its stab moves, which is really nice. Ludicolo can, Politoed does have Ice Beam, but I got a lucky flinch on it. So, what is this rock? Oh, Rock Slide takes Politoed down to 2. And then Ice Beam takes Gigalith down into range for it to die to its own Sandstorm. Because that's right, it Terrastalized out of the Rock type, making it no longer immune to Sandstorm. So, that was kind of a funny moment. But it takes out Politoed with it. Gothitelle, I reversed my own Trick Room. I don't remember why I did that. I don't know why I ended my Trick Room. I think I was assuming that their last Pokemon was Gigalith or something. I don't remember why I did that, or if there was a specific reason. Because I think I end up, like, resetting it here anyways. Gunk Shot into Raikou. No, I Psychic into Ludicolo. Gothitelle hits that Fake Out. But Okidogi, the absolute GOAT with its Assault Vest, lives Thunderbolt from Raikou. Which means that my Gothitelle is free to take out Raikou. And then Sandstorm goes away before it can take out Okidogi, making it allowed to click Knock Off and eliminate their Gothitelle. Very nice. And then we had the final game of the tournament. And this is the part where earlier at the start of the set, I was saying it was cool that Gravity Monkey thought the same Pokemon were good as me. And here's the crux of that, where we both led Okidogi Gothitelle. And I just went, yeah, GG, shake my hand, we agree. Now the difference, one of the differences, we had different movesets and like Terra types on here. Whereas I have Ice Punch on Okidogi, he has Poison Jab for consistent poison type damage that won't miss half the time. as well as a Terra Steel Terra type. His Gothitelle has Mental Herb, so it can't be taunted. Terra Fairy, and it has Heal Pulse instead of where I have Protect. So yeah, interesting. Almost looks like a Ditto, but it's a little bit, there's a little bit of nuance to it. Here I click Fake Out into their Gothitelle, as they probably tried to go for Fake Out as well. But I think my Gothitelle was maybe a neutral speed nature, whereas his might have been minus speed, meaning that I just went slightly faster. I live knockoff from Okidogi, but his Gothitelle will not be living. I got a critical hit, but I'm also Terra Dark, which means my knockoff is 50% stronger than his was. So it's definitely going to take out that Gothitelle. And then here Politoed comes in and says, I want my weather. Okidogi says, I'm going to work into your Okidogi. And here, I don't know how necessary this was, but I click knockoff into Okidogi to remove its Assault Vest, so that Psychic can definitely kill it. Part of that is that if Okidogi had gone Terra Steel, Psychic would do a lot less damage, so I figured clicking knockoff into it means that even if it had terrestrialized, I would have done good damage. I mean, we see here a resisted knockoff to 25, which means if it terred out of its resist, knockoff would have done 50%, which is good damage. So we take that out. We ignore Okidogi, or we ignore Politoed, who clicks Muddy Water, but once again, that Assault Vest on Okidogi is just so useful. I didn't even realize this Gigalith is sturdy. It's not even Sandstream, because that would overwrite the rain, obviously. But I just didn't, like, I forgot about that. Click Terra Grass, so that they're not weak to Drain Punch from Okidogi. But Okidogi wasn't even aiming towards Gigalith. As I click Psychic into Gigalith, breaking it sturdy, doing some decent damage. And it Rock Slides, taking down my lead Pokemon. I say, hey, I have a Gigalith too, right? And my Gigalith can click Wide Guard, and I have Choice Specs Raikou, which threatens your Politoed. And the thing is here that if we look at the moves, we see this Gigalith has Protect, Wide Guard, Curse, and Rock Slide. Its only attacking move is Rock Slide. Politoed has Helping Hand, Protect, Muddy Water, and Ice Beam. So it has Muddy Water and Ice Beam as attack moves. But my Gigalith knows Wide Guard, and so that means it blocks all of Gigalith's attacks and all of Politoed's attacks except a non-stab Ice Beam. And Politoed's not the strongest Pokemon ever. So this is kind of the part where I felt pretty confident I was going to win. I could just click Rock Slide or Wide Guard every turn, pretty much without any punish. And there was very little Gravity Monkey could do. I mean, I could have, like, predicted him trying to click Protect on his Politoed, but this Gigalith cannot hit me if I just click Wide Guard over and over. So this is the part where I just click Wide Guard and Thunderbolt until Gigalith goes down with Politoed. And that's the story of my perfect victory. This is actually, I think, the only time I've played any perfect 35. But to be fair, I'm kind of more of a VGC guy, and this is the only time they've done VGC. But, you know, perfect 35 people. Next time you do a VGC metagame, let me know. I'll be there. I will be there. I will defend my title or something. So yeah. Anyways, if you guys enjoyed this, make sure to leave a like. Make sure to subscribe for probably more Pokemon content. I probably have some more content like this that I need to do, because I've been playing in a couple tournaments and such. Not really recording my games, but if you want to see me talk about tournaments, let me know. Because I do have stuff to talk about. And make sure you subscribe so you don't miss anything like that. I'm going to leave a link to the Perfect 35 Discord channel down below, so make sure to go check it out. Yeah, and I hope you all have a good one. Yeah. Bye-bye. Have a good one, y'all.